Welcome back to another episode of Be Our Guest here on Musical Theater Radio. I am your host, as always, Jean-Paul Jovanoff. I love discovering things, learning about different places and how musical theater works in their culture. I'm Canadian, so I know about how we would work things, and with a slight variations, the US and the UK are pretty similar. So when I got the opportunity to speak with someone about a Mexican interpretation of musical theater songs, I had to set something up. I had to set up an interview to learn more. So today we are speaking with Florencia Cuenca about that very topic, as well as her concert Broadway to Spanglish that's happening October 3rd of 2022, which everyone's going to go see, right? Without further ado, I'd like to welcome Florencia to the show. Hello and welcome.
Hello. Hola, Jean-Paul. How are you? I'm so happy to be here.
I'm good. I wasn't, you know what? I was thinking about saying something, but then no, I'm not even going to try to speak Spanish. I always say English
It's fine.
I always say English is my second language and my only language. So that's how bad I am at that too. So yeah, I don't even try anything else.
It's fine.
So
Oh my
before
God.
we start talking about the concert and a little bit about everything, I want to get to know you a little bit better. I always ask our guests to give a 30-second bio. So who is Florencia in 30 seconds?
And go. I am a Mexican immigrant. I was born in Mexico City. I was born in the business. My dad, he was a musician and comedian. So I started like since I was 3 years old, I was already doing my thing, singing and dancing and acting. And I started in Mexico. Then I moved to New York around almost 7 years ago. And it has been a wild ride, but so worth it. And here I am, telling my stories, um, trying to create a more diverse musical theater here in the States.
That's fantastic. That's wonderful to hear. So I always ask, I like to start at the beginning, just to have a little bit more about you. So you were always into music. Like you said, your dad was into music and acting and singing. When did you discover musical theater itself? Was that at the beginning or a little bit later?
It was from the very beginning. I remember I used to watch My Fair Lady, The Sound of Music, because my dad, because he loved music, he was like, "You need to watch this," and I used to watch it, but I was like, "Okay, I love it. It's fine," but I wasn't experiencing it live. You know, it was through a movie.
Mhm.
Then I remember, like around 8 years old, we went to see a Mexican production of Singing in the Rain, and that blew my mind. I was like, what is this? It's raining on stage. They are tapping and dancing and acting. And I was like, I want to do that. I really want to do that. And my dad, he was like, oh my God, we are lost. So I would say like yes, like around 8, I was so in love with musical theater. Then my dad passed away when I was 9 years old,
Mhm.
so I was very young. And my mom was like, "Do you still want to do this? It's okay if you don't want to. Like just focus at school, blah blah blah." And I was like, "No, I think I cannot. Like want to try it." So my mom, like my mom, she's the best. Uh, she started looking for musical theater schools there for kids or like
Mhm.
team programs, and I started and I fell in love, and I've been doing it since very like I was like 12, 11, like musical theater. No, I started acting since I was 3 years old. Like I was doing some TV shows, blah blah blah, but my real love is musicals.
Nice. I interviewed a friend of mine who's a production manager down in Mexico City for musicals and things like that. And she said it's the Mexican because Mexican musicals are slightly different than the Broadway and the West End. Did you
Yeah.
notice that sort of thing down there? And how are they different in your opinion?
um in my case, we, because I mean musical theater is a very like kind of north business.
Yes.
In Mexico we don't get to do that much,
Mhm.
and we don't have many original
Yes, she was
musical
saying
theater
that.
in Mexico. That is a thing, and that is a sad thing. but it comes from, like, for example, the producers, they don't want to waste their money in a production that they don't know, like, at least here they know, oh, Wicked, of course, Lion King, it's like a blockbuster title that they know they will get money. But in Mexico, we don't have that much. So I was part of a very beautiful Mexican musical that it was called Sino Cejan, and it's about golden age cinema, Mexican cinema. It was beautiful, but there are just like 3, 4. We don't have, I would say, like not even 10. So you can learn about the history of original musicals in Mexico. So, but we're getting there. We are doing it. I know that there are many creators doing their thing right now in Mexico and here in the States, also Mexican or Mexican American people exploring a new way to tell stories in this form in musical theater.
I'm always curious about that because, like I said, I'm in Canada, so we're inundated with American and the
Of
British,
course.
but it's all English. But I interviewed a gentleman from South Korea, and they're just starting in on the musical theater world. Like maybe 20 years ago, they discovered it, and they're starting to build their own as well. So I love hearing the beginnings. That hopefully everywhere is going to have their own stuff. So.
Yes, that's what we need. Different stories, not just one way of telling stories. Like, this is a beautiful world with all the stories are valid and beautiful.
Exactly. So let's talk about your concert that's coming up on October 3rd in 2022, depending on when people listening. That's how I have to put that interview. Exactly. Some people might listen to it afterwards. So and they'll be sad because they missed it. So tell us a little bit about it.
This is a project that it started like right before the pandemic. Honestly, I was feeling a little lost here in the States. I was like, I don't fit. I have an accent. I am brown. I am Mexican. I don't fit in this box. What can I do? Because, like, I was like, So I remember I was listening on my way back home from my day job at that time that I was teaching Spanish music classes. And I was like, I'm so lost. I don't know what to do. And I was listening to Barn. And I mean, that song from Hamilton is amazing, right? And I was like, this totally can be a mariachi song. Like, I can totally see, like, listen to this song in a mariachi way. And my husband, he's a composer, arranger, also Mexican. And I remember I got home and I told him, like, Jaime, I think I know what I want to do. I want to create a project where I can, because this project is about my both sides. The side that the side that loves musical theater. Always a water bottle.
Hey, you know what? I treat this like live theater. You never know what's going to happen, right?
And in every rehearsal, there's always like a water bottle rolling. But yeah, getting back to the idea. So it's the both sides, musical theater and my upbringing and my Latinx genres that I've listened to my whole life: mariachi, bolero, salsa, cumbia, folklore mexicano. And that is who I am. Like, those sides are who I am. And this was like the perfect opportunity to mix them together and see, like, this is me. I hope you like it. And if you don't like it, well, I'm sorry, because this is what I love, no? And since I started the project and I had like, I had to do some work with me and say, like, okay, you're gonna live here because you want to live in New York. You're not living. So you better, like, make peace with the fact that, yes, in some way you will always be an outsider, but what can you do? What are you bringing to these new tables, to this new work, to this business? And the moment I started thinking like that, like, everything started happening, and gigs here, gigs there, concerts. So Broadway in Spanglish is like a very, very, very personal project. And I am so excited because for the first time, I'm gonna do a whole concert with all these songs. Last year, I was part of the Viva Broadway concert that they do in Times Square in the Hispanic Heritage Month. And I sang one of the songs. I sang Born with a mariachi Spanglish arrangement.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. It was amazing. And the people were like, what is this? What is happening? But they were so into it. So and sometimes, let me tell you, when I did it, I was like, maybe nobody will get it. And they will be like, I don't get this at all.
Yeah.
But a lot of people reach out and they were like, I am Mexican American and I love musical theater. And this is me. Like, I feel it. And I was like, yes, this is what it is about. Just to share and be honest with your work. And someone, there are an audience for that. There is an audience for that.
For sure. They're like you said, once you accepted, yourself and you went, you know what, this is who I am. Let's do this. Everything happens, right? It's so hard when you're doubting yourself or you're just not feeling secure. That's more
exactly.
And so congratulations that you got it all on, and then you got to perform that song and in on Broadway and Times Square. So tell us a little bit about this concert, some of the songs that you chose, and even how you changed them to give them a new sound.
Well, first of all, is the language, right? When I moved here, it was so funny because you live in Mexico and you're like, of course I know English. And then you move here and you're like, oh my God. That was like a wow, like a shock. Like the slang is different. I remembered people like saying things to me and I was like, what are they talking about? They would say like quotes or phrases, the slang. And I was like, what does that mean? I don't get it at all.
I'm going to say, as a Canadian, it's the same thing. And I speak English, and when I talk to my friends, because they tell me I have an accent when I go down there. So
of course,
yeah,
of course. So then I started to mix words, like little words in English and Spanish, and just my brain going crazy. And then I got pregnant and I had a kid. He started to speak, and that's his language. He speaks Spanglish.
Yeah.
Like his, Mama, can I get the queso for my, sandwich? And he put some words here, some words there. And I was like, I love that. I love that. Because for so long, people has been harsh on that team because it's like, no, or English or Spanish. And I agree, if you can do both, you can. But some people don't have that upbringing that they grew up learning perfect Spanish or English. So language is something that we just made up. Honestly, it's something that we just made up. Why do we have to be like so strict about it? So here in the songs, what I'm doing is like saying in Spanish little words that feels for me in my tongue better, or that I would say like talking with someone. Like for example, siempre, it's like I always. So I always, like, even if I am speaking with a person who only speaks English, I'm always like grabbing words from here and there. Or the but, we say like pero. Pero is like, pero I was there and he told me that, are those words that just, and it's a reminder always that, girl, your first language is Spanish, and I love it. And I am so proud of it. The language and also the arrangements. In this concert, what I'm going to do is that it's going to be all mariachi. Because it's very expensive. I want to do salsa, mariachi, cumbias. I would have to hire like 30 musicians. And I don't have the budget for that yet. Yes, but someday I'm gonna be like, you know what? All the Latinx rhythms here, and I will have my 20-piece orchestra. But in this case, I'm just doing a mariachi concert. We are doing, of course, Burn. We are doing She Used to Be Mine, Let It Go, I Miss the Mountains, Seasons of Love. What else? There are like 10 songs, but I'm very excited. I will have some friends joining me from the Broadway community. So I'm excited.
Which songs did you find translated, so easily into the mariachi sound? Was there a song or two that you went?
I think definitely Burn, that it was the first one that came to my mind, right? And for example, She Used to Be Mine. Uh, one day when we were listening to it, like just like, what song should we do next? Uh, there is something that we do that it's called zapateado. That's like our version of tap. And it's different. It's from our folklore dances.
Mm-hmm.
So we were like, I can totally hear a zapateado in the beginning of She Used to Be Mine. And then my husband and I, we start to talk about it. And for me, as a Mexican, I think like every song that talks about pain, you're like, there is a mariachi. There is a mariachi there. If you're talking about something that hurts, you just need like mariachi, tequila, and sing and belt it out. The other day, as I told you, I was at Connecticut developing a new musical, and I had a friend there that he was also Mexican. And we were like drinking and talking about life. And then we started to sing a Mexican song, and it was so dramatic. But we sang it, and then we were like, oh my God, that song is so dramatic. He's saying that his heart is broken, and that's why he's drinking, because he can't stand the pain anymore. So, I love that. I love it's just a love for life and pain at the same level, that I think it's something that mariachi brings in the songs. So in musical theater, we love drama. And I think that it totally matches every song that it's like that. And to be honest, when we were thinking about the concert, I was like telling my husband, Jaime, I think this is too heavy. People is gonna be like, oh my God, what's going on? This hurts so much. Because all mariachi songs are like very, very heavy. But we found a way to find some songs like Seasons of Love, like so they can have like a more relief during those moments. Pero mariachis, just the trumpets, the violins, and the way you sing it too. It's a very like a chesty, belted out genre, which I love it.
So I'll be honest, I'm not a huge fan of She Used to Be Mine, but I took a listen to your version of it and I went, I like this, because it's not just the musical theater sound. It brought some gravitas and life and some heaviness, and it took it to the next level of what they were saying. So yeah, it's great.
Thank you so much. I love it.
I like that song again. So I wasn't a fan before, but now I do enjoy it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So who are some of the other people that are going to be joining you? Just give them a little plug.
The guests are,
or is it a surprise?
They will be a surprise.
Oh, okay. Then I will say. then we will say nothing. People will have to go.
They need to go. If you're here in New York, you need to go. And what I always do at my concerts with my husband as well is that we love to bring the Latino community. Of course, we want representation and we want them there, but it's also for like all kinds of people. I think music is a language, and they will relate. Exactly. I am 100% sure that they will relate. So I'm happy that we are having this opportunity to share our music, our language, our genres, and also our stories, because the way that I am thinking of these songs sometimes is not about the journey of the character in the musical, right?
Yes.
Like She Used to Be Mine. I think about that little girl in Mexico that wanted to pursue her dreams to be in New York. And sometimes you come here and it's like, oh my God, no, it's so hard. I don't want to do it anymore. And you're like, she used to be mine. What happened to that girl? What happened to the dream? So it's another take on those songs.
That's fantastic. Congratulations on getting the concert up and everything that you've done so far. So we need to let the people know the who, where, and information, and how can they get tickets and all that fun stuff. So
it's October 3rd, 7 p.m. at Joe's Puff, that it's part of the Public Theater. And they can get tickets online at Joe's Puff, publictheater.org.
Okay.
Florencia, Cuenca, Broadway, and Spanglish. That's it. That's the info.
Perfect. And we're promoting it on our social media. So if anybody is trying to find it, just go to our site and it'll be there because we want to help promote.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
That's awesome. And Florence, again, congratulations. Thank you for spending a little bit of time, talking to me and introducing me to that new version of the song that I wasn't a fan of, but now I am. So thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you for giving me the space. It means a lot as a Mexican immigrant trying to make it here. This means a lot to have this opportunity to share with you and your audience.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. All right. We were just speaking with Florencia Cuenca. Tune in next week as we'll speak with another guest or guests about their love, and passion that is musical theater. I am your host, as always, Jean-Paul Jovanoff. Until next time, I'll see you when I see you.